Hello everyone, I'm Alicia. Welcome to my Beautiful Nights channel. For this video, I'm going to show you guys how to design a necklace or a bracelet, whatever, how to design a piece of jewelry. This is a stringing project, and you can do this with beads from your stash, or you can use a subscription box. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. But basically, I'm just giving you a lot of ideas and inspiration to help you design a piece of jewelry. Alright, so for this project, I am using beads from the Czech Beads exclusive monthly subscription box. This is October's box, and the theme is called Autumn Festival. So I have created an Autumn Festival necklace here. And when I opened this box up, there was a lot of black beads in it. So I knew that I was going to be using mostly black beads, and probably all of them in the box, because that's what I got the most of. And then I had to decide, and that was my neutral color, and then I had to decide on what other colors I was going to put in with this. And so I looked at the beads that I had. These are the leftovers. The only one I'm using is this here, but I ended up using several beads from this box. I think there's 13 bags there that I emptied for this necklace, and the only thing I'm using from my stash is seed beads to do this. And that's just because I feel like, to me, a seed bead is a necessity. It's like a spacer bead, and I like to use metallic seed beads, and my favorite metallic seed bead to use is dark bronze. That's the color. It's made by Miyuki 11-0, and I also have it in 8-0s and 6-0s in my stash, but I use 11-0s a lot for stuff like this, especially with this box. This box always has very unique, gorgeous, very detailed beads and charms and all kinds of stuff in it. So what I did is I mostly took the black beads, I emptied them out of the baggies, and I saw the nice texture that I had going on with the black beads. Here you can see there's some are black and white, and even hematite, I consider those kind of in that color range. So I mixed those together, and then I ended up realizing that I had some really nice focal pieces to choose from, and I could have used any of these as a focal piece. I could have used this one, I could have used this huge teardrop. If I use the owl, it has a center hole that goes this way, so I would have to put that onto a head pin and make a wire wrapped loop. I've made a necklace in the past with these awesome owl beads. I'll put a picture up to give you some inspiration. And that was a tutorial. You can go and watch that. And so I decided on my favorite bead was this one here for the focal. It is a ruby Picasso flower bead, and it is just gorgeous. It's 18 millimeters, so that was my centerpiece. And then I needed some more beads to go around it for the front. And I had some options on the next bead. This is a flower, so I thought I should do leaves on the side. And I could have either done this orange leaf or these green beads here. But if I did these green beads, they would be the only green beads in this, and I thought it would look weird. And this is a fall festival, that's the theme of the box, so it's fall inspired colors. And so I decided not to use the green and do these two orange leaves on the sides. And then I had an option. I needed two more beads for the sides here, and I loved the butterflies. I could have gone with the white and gold, but that would be the only white in the necklace, and so I decided to go with the black and silver. So that's the center front part of my design, and then I had to design the rest from there, and I'm gonna go over that with you guys. So we started out with picking a focal for this here, but sometimes when you make a necklace, you don't have a focal bead for a center. So like in the past, when I've got a box like this, I think I didn't have at the time, it's been a long time, at that time I don't think I had a focal, or maybe I decided not to do a focal and do multiple beads for the front of the necklace, and I just did a large section of dagger beads. So I'll put a picture up for that project I'm talking about. Alrighty, so we started with the focal, and then we did some beads around it. And if you want, like I said, you can use any one of these here for the focal if you want to change up your design. And then for the leaf, I could have done the green, but I decided to go with the orange. But I could have done these if I wanted to. If I did the cats are bigger on one side, so it would flip. Like the cat would lay okay on this side, but if I put the cat on this side, it would flip over because his butt is sticking out and it's heavier than the front legs of his body. So that bead would be backwards. So that's why I didn't go with the cats. And I said I didn't go with the green because that would be the only green in the necklace. And I would actually have to put the green up throughout the sides more to distribute the color. And so then I had these petals here, and I decided not to do those at all. And if I did do those, I would put those onto jump rings and make them look like little charm dangles throughout the piece. But I have done several tutorials in the past on things that I've made with these beads. I'll put some pictures up now in case you didn't see those. You can go and do those projects if you like. And then for the smaller beads, I kind of wanted to use these, but I realized there's AB on these, and there's no AB in the rest of the necklace. And it was kind of going away from the fall theme, and this here I wasn't sure about those, so I didn't do those, and I went with the black, and I did use them here and there. Okay. Oh, and these owls, I almost forgot. There's these hyacinth, I think it is, orange with copper owls here. If you want, instead of using these, you can use these. So you have two color options for that there. Okay, so that's why I chose the colors that I chose here. And I do like to dump the beads and mix them around. Basically, what we just did was like a process of elimination. I picked the colors that I like together, I mixed them together, mostly the blacks, hematites, the oranges, and I mixed them together. I had these beads in this mix, but as I started laying out my design, I ended up pulling things out. So you might find, you know, you'll get a nice mix going, put your beads together, and as you start designing, there will probably be beads that you will take out. So, example, I love this bead for my centerpiece. It's my favorite. So I ended up taking these out of the mix because that's my centerpiece. And then for the side beads here, I could have used these in place of the butterflies, but I chose the butterflies instead. I did use these 3mm black check Druks in here. There are a couple in here. And the owls, I had two options. I could have used the orange hyacinth, or I could have used the hematite. Actually, it's a black luster. So I chose these instead. So I just want to let you guys know that you might find you'll get a good mix going. It's all pretty. And then as you go to lay your beads out, you might take some out. And, you know, as you go along, the piece will come together. Now let's go into the layout of how I lay out my beads. But before I do want to let you guys see some of the designs that I've made in the past with the Czech Beads exclusive box. I've made a ton of projects with this box. And whenever I do projects with subscription boxes, I like to mainly use what I get in the box and just the bare necessities out of my own stash, because I want you guys to be able to make the same thing along with me. So I use seed beads for my stash. Everybody pretty much has seed beads. And lobster claw clasp, jump rings, crimps, stuff like that I use for my stash. And maybe head pins, you know, basic things. to make this process easier and also more enjoyable, I'm going to be using a wooden jewelry design board, but you don't have to use this board to make a necklace or a bracelet. You can just lay your beads out on a bead mat or some kind of a fabric, which is something I still do today. It really just depends on what I'm making. If I'm using a lot of smaller beads, then I tend to want to use a design board. You can also use the plastic velvet coated boards to put your beads on. I already know that I want this to be my centerpiece, but you still have different options on how you want these beads to be. I'm going to string them, right? But if you want, you can put a head pin through this bead, make a wire wrapped loop here at the top, and you can string that on so it dangles down. And I don't have a lot of space on my desk. And so that would actually look really awesome because the leaves are going to be like this, sticking downward. But that's totally up to you if you want to do that. Now if you do that, it will make the necklace shorter, and I think the finished length of this necklace is going to be like 22, maybe 23, maybe 22 and a half, I don't know, somewhere around there. And these here, I'm also going to string these up, but you can also put these onto head pins also, and then they would hang like this. And doing this is going to bring all of these beads closer together because these aren't strung up. So that's an option, okay? So the holes in this is going through the top, and then you can put head pins through here, these 3 beads, and wire wrap them. It's totally up to you, but it's another designing idea. Right? So I'm going to lay these out. This is how I want them to be. I'm going to string mine. I'm not going to use the head pins, but it's another idea, and it again look amazing. Now there's 5 beads here, and when I get these boxes, I have to play around with the numbers, and I like to try and use up as many as I can without having leftovers. But sometimes I do have leftovers, and it's just is what it is. And I have done several tutorials and designs in the past on projects using just 1 bead or 2 beads, so I always find a use for the beads. Alright, so I have my 5 beads here, and I needed spaces in between them. I'm going to have seed beads in between them, but I needed something to break these beads up, and I had 6 of these, so this is perfect. So I put this bead here, okay, and then I'm going to have seed beads in between all of these beads, and then I want to use these owls. So this is kind of like a focal bead in a way, being that it's like one of the most decorative beads. So I laid these out. Okay, I gotta make sure I stay in frame. I'm putting 3 on each side. I love the different shapes in this. It adds so much texture and interest to the design. And also there was so much blackness. I really liked putting the bronze in it because I felt like it made it more fall-like and less Halloween. It's more fall. I like the name of the box too, Fall Festival. I think it'd be an awesome necklace to wear to something like that. Okay, anyways. So I have my owls here. And I needed to break these up. So I love these square beads. They're wavy squares. They look like recycled glass, but they're Czech glass. They're so pretty. Some look darker than others, so is it these 2? Maybe. Anyways, I'm going to lay these down, and I only have 6. So I'm going to lay them down like this. And I love stacking. Oh, this goes in here. I'm going to constantly be moving these. I love stacking flat beads on top because that just looks so cool to me. The textured look. So I'm going to use these disc beads. And I think I'm going to use 6. And I'm going to put them here at the base. I like the stripy one on top of this, so I'm gonna go like this. Okay, below, like that, and then I put the striped one on top. And we have the square that's flat. We have these Did I put the right bead there? No, that's not a stripey. That one. Okay, that's stripey, stripey. That's not stripey. Good grief. That one. Okay, those are hematite. These ones. Stripey, stripey, and stripey. Okay, so there's this at the top. Stripey, square, hematite, ow. Stripey, square, hematite, ow. Stripey, square, hematite. Okay, that's my pattern. I like to have the bigger beads at the bottom of the necklace and the thinner beads at the top. So the owls are thinner, smaller. So I have those at the top because I don't have enough to put these at the bottom. But I do end up using these later on. Okay. Now the next bead that has a flatness to it is this ruby Picasso Rondelle. I love these, and this matches the center bead here, so I had to use these. So I put these right here, and it has that flat shape to it. This bead I think is 3 by 4 millimeter. It's kind of like the same size as a 6OC bead. So if you're using beads from your stash, you could totally use 6OC beads in place of this. So it has a flatness to it, so I like to have all the flat beads together because I think it looks really pretty, especially with the seed beads in between it. So I go like this. Okay. Like that. And then I have beads left over. Okay, these are my leftover beads so far. And I kind of realized that I didn't want the same color or similar color beads touching. I wanted breaks in between them because it blends together to my eye. I think it looks like it blends together. So what I then did is I took the black 3 millimeter and I put one on the top and bottom of the owl. So my necklace is going to go out of frame. I can't help it. But I'm going to slide the board up and down so you can see it. So I break up the red and the orange by putting a black on the top and bottom of the owl. But if you do want a shorter necklace, I think this is going to be around 22, 23 inches. You could leave that bead out if you would like it to be shorter. Okay, so I have to go to this side now. And you can also leave, if you want this to be shorter, some beads out at the back of the necklace. And you'll see when I get there. Okay, so these beads are flat and they take a lot of space laying down, but once they're string, it's going to once they're strong, it's going to get shorter because the beads are flat laying out flat. Alrighty. So there we go. That's what I have so far. Okay. And this is how I did it. The first time I created it was just like this. And these are the beads that I had left over. And I wanted to use them. And I was like, well, this is the nice pattern that I have in the front. I can use the other beads in the back of the necklace. So I have to slide my board down. I'm trying to make sure you could see everything. Alrighty, so what I did is I took these, this is called splatter or rain because it looks like raindrops, and I did the black, okay, and then I did orange on each side, and then I did a red, okay, black, orange, red, black, orange, red, black, orange, red, black, orange, red, black, orange. Alright, so this is going to be for the back of my neck, and remember I'm going to have seed beads in between all of the beads. And I do have the red and orange touching, and I did think about putting the Druks in between those to break up those two colors, but it would make the necklace too long for my liking. But if you would like it longer, it would probably maybe go up to 23, 24, you could do that. It's up to you. And I think there should be enough. I didn't count them, but there might be enough. You would have to see. Okay. And then I have leftover beads. So I have 2 striped beads. Okay. And 2 hematite beads. And I was like, I should put these in. I don't want to, you know, like I put them in my stash, but I think I would like to add them. And I was studying the design. And I ended up realizing that down here, I have this hematite. Oh, you can't see. I'm sorry. Down here, I have these Druks, the Rondelle, and this hematite colored. It's not hematite gemstone. It's just colored hematite disc bead. And I thought maybe I can put the stripy looking bead down here. And I'm like, oh, that looks weird because these are too close. And then I looked up and I saw here the owls, and you know I have this Druk, okay, the Rondelle, and then this flat bead, and I had these 2 left. And then I came back down. I'm looking down here. I'm like, I think I need orange down here. I need orange here because this is orange, and then I have this big space with no, right here, this is space with no orange. And so I'm like, I think I should take orange beads from here. So I went to the very back, because I always think I have to take it from the very back. Take these 2 and bring them down, because these are in the back. I need some in the very front so that it makes sense. So then I have to move some stuff around here, make some more space. Okay, so it was like this. And then I put the black and the orange because if you look, this is orange, black, red. So that repeats here, orange, black, red. And I have my orange breaking up the pattern, so it just kind of makes sense. Orange, black, red. Okay. So I got that. Orange, black, red. Orange, black, red. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I got my orange down. These beads are back here in the necklace. I brought them to the front so you could see how it now flows into the back. And then I still had these 2 left. And I alternated the wavy disc beads throughout. So I have the stripy, hematite, stripy, hematite, stripy, hematite, stripy. The next would be hematite. And looking at this owl here, this was a puzzle, okay? This everything I make is a puzzle basically, but it's fun. Instead of playing puzzle games on my cell phone, this is what I do instead. It's more enjoyable and there's no ads. Okay? So back here, I'm like, I think I can get the disc bead in back here. But it's like, well, if looking in reverse, after this Druk, I did the Rondelle. And then I was like, oh, I have a Rondelle here. So if I slide this down, there's my pattern. Oh, I could put the disc in now. And then I put the disc in. Alright, and there's my design. That's how I came up with this. And this is just a short review of this, because I did this over a period of probably, I don't know, an hour or 2, because I watch, you know, YouTube, and I stream stuff. So while I'm watching that stuff, this is what I'm doing, making stuff like this. Alright, so this is my design. I'm gonna go over it and make sure that the pattern is correct, because sometimes I put the beads in the wrong place. You saw that throughout filming this, and I look at the camera a lot to see if I'm in frame, and then down here I'm putting in the wrong place. So yeah, this is my design. Now what I have to do is put the seed beads in between, and I just leave the seed beads here. I don't put them onto the board because it makes a big mess. And so I get my bead string wire, and I do like to turn the board. You can leave it like this if you want, and have your bead stringing wire, pick up a bead, okay, because you could pick it right up out of the middle, and then come over here and pick the bead up and string it on, and then get your next bead, and then go like this. Okay, there's a couple options on how you can do this, and then the next bead. Okay, but I don't know why. I guess it's just beading for so long. I don't like picking my beads up with my fingers. I like to do it like it's a needle. So I turn my board. I don't know if it's just going to be able to be in frame like this, and I start on one side, and I like beading. Whenever I string my stuff, I like to leave the spool on, because I have no idea how much length I'm going to need. And this is a bead stopper, because when your beads go down, you know, they go to the end of the spool. So I put that far away, and I stopped with a seed bead, so then I just go like this. Okay, pick up the bead, and then I get a seed bead, and then my next bead, and a seed bead, next bead, and I just go like this. This is how I prefer to string it. I am back, and I have made the last minute decision to put this bead onto a ball head pin, because I tried it on, and these have a drop on them, and then this is short in the middle when strung like this. And so I've decided that I'm going to do this, and I did talk about this in the video that this is an option, and I kind of also wonder if I should put the butterflies onto head pins. Now, doing this is going to make the necklace shorter. I measured it, it's 22 inches, but taking and putting this onto a head pin is going to make the necklace shorter, and this is 18 millimeters, so it's less than an inch. Right? Now, in order for me to put this into the necklace, I have to string on 2 beads to keep it stationary, because this is going to hop right over the seed beads. And so I'm putting on a 3mm Druk. Remember, I had these leftovers, and I did use these beside the owls. So I'm putting on a 3mm Druk, and then my bead. And you want to make sure that this is this bead's very loose, that it spins freely. Because if it's stiff, it will cause the bead to crack. Putting on a second bead, so when I string them on, it looks like this. Okay? And it's going to hang like that because of the, you know, it's a V shape. So I'm going to continue stringing this. So I'm going to go ahead, finish this off. And the whole point of this video is it is meant to be a talking video, and me talking about how I design my jewelry. And so I really wasn't going to show how to crimp it. Then I thought, well, people might get mad if I don't. But I've always shown, I have several videos on how to crimp. And I'm not using crimp tubes because I only have them in every color except for copper and bronze. So I'm using crimp beads, and that means I have to squish the crimp because it's a bead, not a tube. So I have my crimp bead on. I can't confuse it with my seed bead. I don't want to break my seed bead. My clasp is going to go on this side because right-handed. If I was left-handed, I'd put it on this side. This is the front. I can tell it's the front because this is the front of the leaves. And I'm using wire guardians. You don't have to. These are optional. Wire guardians are optional. Crimp covers are optional. You mainly need crimp tubes or beads, your clasp, and a split or jump ring. Split rings are more secure, in case you didn't know. But, yeah. Okay, I'm going to use this, and I'm going to string my wire through there. And then, you know, I have to put this split ring on, and then I go through the split ring, and then I have to go through this side of the wire protector and through my crimp. Okay, so like that. And how much wire do I want? Let's see, about that much, maybe 2 inches. So I'm just gonna go right there. Okay, and then I'm going to make sure that these wires are side by side. You don't want them crossing. I'm also going to pinch my wire protector because it's open kind of far. Close it down some. Okay, and then I want my wires to be parallel side by side. Do not let them crisscross. Grab in my crimp bead. Now they're crisscrossing again. Gotta get a hang on this. Get a grip on it. Okay, like this. They're side by side. Bring this up. Oh, this still could be closed more. There we go. Okay, now I can squish this flat. Yes. I partially squished it. Okay, now they're side by side. Good grief. I make this look difficult. It's not difficult. It's really easy. It's just that my wires fussing with me. Okay, squish it on one side, I flip it, and I squish it on the other side. The point of leaving this wire here behind is in case you would ever want to restring this. Like, I can break this crimp open with my crimping pliers. And how you would do it, because you didn't fold it, you would go to the smallest notch and you would put this in the smallest notch. I've done this so many times. Okay, so like this. And because it's not creased, when you squeeze your pliers, it'll break that crimp. And the crimp will fall off, and then you fix whatever you need to fix in your design, string it back, and then you put the, put the crimp back on and you complete it. But you can't do this with soft flex crimps because they're very strong. They're thick-walled and they won't let you break them. I don't know if anybody does this like I do. This is just something that I've done myself, so I don't know if anybody else would break the crimp. And also sometimes crimp beads will crack. There it is. And you would have to put a new crimp bead in. That's happened to me before. Okay, sliding these down. And I'm going to do the other side. I don't know if I'm going to film it because right now there's somebody walking on the roof and my dog's barking. So if he's barking, I'll probably just fast forward through it. No, it's not Santa Claus. It's not Christmas yet. So I totally just screwed up and I put my clasp on the wrong side. And I can either take it apart to that bead and flip it or leave it as is. But since I'm ridiculous, I think I'm going to take it apart and flip the beads so that the clasp is on the right side. Or what I can also do, see, I make mistakes all the time. I've been beading for almost 30 years now. I can open this up and slide this onto here and then put another split ring on this side and then clip this onto the split ring. That's another fix. There's so many ways you can fix things, but I prefer it for this to be attached right on to here, so I'm just going to flip over my beads. It won't take long. I'm going to unstring it real quick, string it back again, and I'm going to come back and we're going to finish it, okay? I'm bad off today. I'm sorry. I really struggled getting the wire guardians. They're kind of a pain in the butt. I kind of struggled getting that through there. I've been riding on the struggle train today, and I need to get off at the next stop. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, before it gets any worse, so I'm gonna see if I have any slack. I need some, not too much, but enough for movement so my beads aren't stiff, so the project isn't stiff. I'm pulling that. I have not crimped it yet. I like to actually do this. If I can get that to go around like that, it's usually supple enough. And I really don't have any space though. Let me see. I gotta fuss with it for a little bit. Oh, there's space. Okay. I think that's it. Okay, this wiggle room. You just need some wiggle room. It's just enough space for maybe an extra bead, seed bead to be there, but that just gives us some movement. Okay, now I'm going to crimp this. Crimp it on this side, and then I flip it and I crimp it on the other side. If you have too much wiggle room, like if you ever have too much slack, then go ahead and put some crimp covers in, because those take up space. When I first started bead stringing, I remember I was kind of like tripping over this amount of space that a crimp cover would use. Okay. And close it. Right. It kept a little bit of a kink there because I was using regular bead string wire. Okay, so right there, there's the slack. But that slack makes the piece move better, especially with having drops or leaves like this. If this was too tight, these would flip up when I'm wearing it, and they would want to stay up. But now it's going to be moving. They can still flip up, but they'll fall back down. So I have wiggle room. It's important to have some wiggle room, and it's just right. Okay, so this is it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to try and make it shorter, but the whole point of this video is pretty much a talking video because I wanted to explain how I come up with designing things. I've shown how to crimp multiple times. That wasn't really the focus of this. It was all about designing, like with a subscription box, and there's alternatives you can use from your stash for a piece like this. You don't have to use the same beads. This is it. I hope you found this video inspirational. I hope you got something out of it. I tried to put as much information, tips, and tricks and hacks and all kinds of stuff in my videos because I love to share ideas. And so if you found this helpful, and if you're able to, if you would like to support my work, YouTube now has a super thanks button below the video. If you scroll to the right, you will see a heart. Click on that, and there you can donate to me so that I can make more content in the future. And also, I'm trying to get a new video camera because I've been using the same video camera since 2011, and it's time to update it. I can't believe it's still working. It's crazy. Anyways, let me know what you think down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video, leave me a comment, subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. Make sure you click the bell button so that you get notified whenever I upload new videos, and follow me on my social media sites. I'm on Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter. Thanks for watching.